on really what you do, because it is just so valuable. Anyone can do it. We're not special people. We just know some things that other people don't know. We're going to share that today.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited to be here. I had no idea how big your channel and your following was. And I actually left my phone number on my social media stuff last time. And I think I woke up the next morning with over 400 text messages. So if those of you are watching again, I'm doing my best to get back to them, and I'm taking my phone number off. But it was really exciting to be on here. In fact, you have some pretty big e-commerce people that are in your group too. I met a young lady that she's 22 years old, and she was actually one of the ones that called me, and I was super blown away because at first she's like, I'm launching a beauty brand, and I was like, oh no, not another beauty brand. She was crushing it. She was doing over $100,000 a month, and she has a full-time gig already, a full-time job, and that was just her side hustle. So I was really, really blown away by all the quality.
Yeah, the audience, like I said, this channel has grown just enormously. We're getting millions of views per month. Now I have over 400,000 subscribers on just YouTube, have hundreds of thousands on TikTok, just incredible. But I feel like it's because I give so much information. Like I felt like I was already successful before I ever came to social media. And it's always been my mission to just make other people successful with the information that I struggled to get, I paid for to get, or I learned on my own. So it's like, I want to help others, and then I want others to help others. And you and I share that same spirit. So I just absolutely love that you agreed to come back and actually like go through some training this time and like really teach people this, because it is incredible.
Thank you.
Yes. And I've even joined some of your masterminds. So I knew it was like amazing. And some of the entrepreneurs that you're working with, that you're mentoring and things like that. So this was just incredible. So we're going to get into it. We are really, really going to get into it. I know you have a presentation. I'll let you go ahead and share your screen, and then we could go ahead and get started. And then if people stay to the end, I know you have a special surprise, and we're even going to do some question and answer. So we're going to be here. Get prepared, everyone that is listening, you that is listening. This is going to be about an hour long. So turn off your distractions, turn cell phones off, close out other browsers. This is someone literally that I know has made a lot of money, millions of dollars, and we have a fund with hundreds of millions of dollars committed. So this is an opportunity that you're not going to get anywhere else. So please get your pens and papers out. I literally have my notes here, you know what I mean, as well. So if everybody has their notes, this is going to be incredible. So I'm going to turn it. Yeah, go ahead.
So first off, do you want me to give out the free gift? So I have the business plan. I have the business plan that I use to evaluate a lot of projects, and the plan that I'm actually giving out to you now as part of the free gift is something that I use almost daily. It's actually something that someone paid me $25,000 to go down and do some consulting with them. And really, at the end of the day, what it came down to is I just found a couple little things in their business that they needed to tweak, and then I provided them with this plan that I'll give away right now. So you have the domain, right?
Yes. So if everyone listening, before we get into this training, this is super important. We're going to put this on the screen as well. Go to brocksfreegift.com. That's Brock, BROCK with an S, brocksfreegift.com. Go in there right now before we start this training and get that so you can follow along with it. This is going to help you in your business. It's an absolute great gift that you can get absolutely free, but it's going to help you with this training that we're doing today, and maybe even answer some of your questions that you'll have at the end for the Q&A. If you have questions about it, we're going to be here to answer it. We are here for it. So go ahead, go to brocksfreegift.com and get Brock's free gift, because you want that, especially for this training, so it goes well together.
Okay. So can you guide me through this here and make sure that I'm sharing my
Yes. Okay. There you go. There you go. And then you got to do the full screen. So this is perfect. So yeah. Oh my gosh. So an e-commerce brand. Yes. I'm going to let you go ahead and get started, because I know you know this. Like, you know how to launch them, you know how to scale them, and you know how to take them like to extraordinary levels. So
yeah, absolutely. So I'll just walk you real quick through the concept here, is like how to launch an e-commerce brand with little to no cash. There's because of quarantine and COVID, I mean, there's been a lot of really, companies that have gotten upset, but there's also a silver lining to it. And that silver lining is that there's a lot of retail brands that big name brands, like brands that you would see in Neiman Marcus or Nordstrom's, that have actually gone out of business, and a bank is holding the note for them because the bank had lent them money. And banks are calling me all the time. Actually, I just got a deal that came in late last night that I'm going to share today. but there's a huge opportunity to take on a couple of these companies. And then the other part of this is, I know that there's probably people watching that already have a product, and that's fine. If you already have a product or an idea, and you just want to follow the formula that I use, you're more than welcome to do that. But the other thing, and this is like the really big secret, is I started, I kind of crawled out from underneath a rock about 3 or 4 years ago. I was somewhat semi-retired and figuring out how to be a dad and raise 4 kids on my own. And I just started doing little posts on Facebook. And one of the things that I do want to share is everything that you're seeing today that has come through here has literally come from me posting on Facebook, LinkedIn, and on Instagram. And if you go look at my followings, they're really small. I mean, really small. I think that they have, my Instagram's like 2,000. My Facebook is 5. I'm a big deal on Facebook because I can't get any more followers, right? Well, on my page, but then on my Twitter's even smaller. But I had someone post the other day on my, he actually sent me a message, and I'd like to call him a fan instead of a hater. But my fan said, there's a lot of really big companies out here. Some of them have raised 24 billion, and he was referring to one of my friends that had done that. But by my calculations, you're like the biggest little guy out here. You've only raised somewhere around $350 million. I thought, that's pretty good.
Right.
For like,
awesome. It's awesome. It's so fun. You're right. Yeah, right.
Less than that. But I thought, wow, that's pretty good. But if you really look at it, I haven't spent a dime to do it. And most of I have done some in-person events to get people together. I didn't pay anything for those either because I used free resources to do it. But so anyways, that's everything that's come from this. I'd be more than happy to share those posts. And what's even funnier about the posts is not once in all of those posts do I ever talk about myself.
Yeah.
So all I do is I would just find really cool people, talk to them, and then post about their success or the projects that they're doing. And then the next thing you know, I'm getting hit up by people asking if I have projects they can invest in. People are asking if I know investors. And then I've been on 3 TV shows now just from, and I'll share some of those as we go through it. So bear with me. I'm pretty good at selling stuff online. I'm absolutely horrible with PowerPoint. So this is a big deal for me here.
And this is what's crazy. This is what I love, because you don't need all of that fancy bells and whistles. You don't need all of that. Like, it's really about relationships, and like you're going to teach so much. Like, you already said an amazing thing. I hope people wrote that down, that it does not cost a lot of money to get people together. You were able to raise all of this money without spending a lot of money. So let's just keep going, because I hope people are getting how powerful and easy this stuff is to do. It's not difficult stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So that's my goal today. I kind of already went over it, but to show you the exact process I use to launch, acquire, or invest in amazing brands. So we're always looking. I've launched a ton of stuff. I've been partners with, I had an office with Kevin Harrington from Shark Tank way before Shark Tank. And products would come in, and if a product was good and he wanted it, he would do infomercial. If I wanted it and I wanted to put it online, I would do internet. And then we had another guy in the office named Jim, and if he wanted it, he would do retail. So we all kind of worked together. So super funny story, I'll tell you this real quick, is when I first started with Kevin, and he asked me to move my company into his office so that it'd be easier to do deals. I went in there and he's like, yeah, here's your office, blah, blah. And I came back and I said, Kevin, it's a good sized office, but it says janitor's closet on the door. And I'm like, bro, you didn't really just give me the janitor's office. And he's like, dude, we're growing so fast, we don't have any other rooms. So I'm like, all right, I'll just roll. So
again, you don't need a fancy office either to make a lot of money.
So I remember George Foreman came in, Vanilla Ice, 50 Cent. Like, we had a lot of really fun projects that came through. And they'd always want to come back and because I'd always want to show them stuff on my computer. They're like, why does it say janitor's office on it? I'd always try to be really serious because I clean house. Like, I try to. But,
exactly.
So that was kind of a funny story. Anyway, if you stay to the end, I'll provide you with a bunch of the templates. I've got over the last. I'm not very proficient in Excel, so I've actually hired people to help create some of the, if you want to call them pro formas, or just little measurements that I do whenever I'm looking for something. So, anyways, here's what here's what I do want to cover real quick that makes this different is there's a lot of people that I meet all the time that want to launch an e-commerce brand, whether it's a tech company, a beauty brand, a fashion company. I mean, I could go on like a gadget or whatever, and they all have really, really good ideas. But what makes this, I think the really big thing right now is like drop shipping and sourcing product on Alibaba. But I mean, think about it. If you're sourcing product on those places, you're really competing with a lot of other people. And one of the things this is completely backwards, is all of my best products have come, and I'll share some of them on here, from people that I've met on social media or around the corner. And what I mean by that is, I would just do posts like I'm saying, and I'll provide you with the posts if you want to use them as well. That just basically said, hey, I've partnered with so and so. I have a buddy that's gotten 30 products on Shark Tank. You can say that you partnered with Noelle and I, and I'll provide you the exact template. But here's an example of it. I've met a lady that made butter, and a little lady from Atlanta, Georgia, and she made butter, but she makes the best butter, and you're probably like, what? That doesn't make any sense. So I'll show you later. I met a little lady that sews blankets. I met a hip hop artist who makes a clothing brand. We have 3 movies in the works right now. We've got all of my best products. Curse Cosmetics, another one. All of my best products have come from someone who sent me a message on social media, and they're like, hey, I make this. I'm like, wow, that's really cool, and it's not even there. And what's even cooler about it is that they know a way to make it in small quantities so that we can test it and we can put it online and we can see if it works or not. Because the worst thing that you want to do, and I'll show you here in a little bit, is the last thing you want to do is order a bunch of product, have a garage full of it, or even worse, go get a warehouse to do it. If you've already done all that stuff, I've got good news for you too, though. I'll show you how to clear it all out pretty quick. But so I hope I'm covering all my bases there. So in this, the story, what's really funny about this is what you and I are doing today is what this guy, Buck Risby, did with me about 12, 15 years ago. He's like, Brock, I love what you're doing online. You're running all this traffic and making all these sales. Can I interview you and do what you're doing at the time? I was like, oh my gosh, that's super creepy. But so he came to my house in Tampa, Florida, and he's like, I'm going to record everything that you do. We're like, fine. So we recorded everything that I did. We put it online, and when we put it online, we launched the product, and he's basically took everything that I had taught him in the recordings, put it online, and we got some other people to help us promote it, and we did $3.6 million in our first 6 hours. So exactly what you and I are doing here.
Yeah, exactly. So, and the thing about it is it's sometimes hard. I'll say this really quickly because it's hard sometimes when you're doing stuff to break it down and then teach what you're doing. So it's funny that now that, after I was flipping houses, just using that as an example, I'm flipping houses, I'm making all this money. And now I want people like, how do you flip houses? I literally had to kind of go back and break down what I do differently and some of the things I've learned, and like, oh, no, don't do that. And then the things I do. So this is amazing because it's great information, and I've been able to help people in real estate move a lot faster. And so doing the same thing is probably why you're able to help people move so fast in their e-commerce businesses.
Yeah. So full transparency, I'm a single dad raising 4 kids. And when quarantine happened, I was just trying to figure out how to be a dad at the same time, and then also like run my companies. But a bank started calling me, and a bank called me once, and they said, "Hey, we have a fashion brand, and they've got roughly $18 million in inventory in Utah." I was like, "No way!" That's like, because I was so excited about it because nobody had product because quarantine had stopped product from coming in. And they're like, yeah, do you want to buy the inventory? It's worth about 18 million, but we'll sell it to you for 4 or 5 because we have, because that's all they owe us for the note. I was like, no, I don't have liquid $4 or $5 million, and I don't want to liquidate anything for that. They're like, oh, well, what if we let you sell the inventory, and then we'll just take a percentage off of every sale? And I was like, I was just in a bad mood, right? So I'm like, I don't want to put $100,000 or $20,000 or $2,000 into any advertising to sell your product. Like, can you hear that? Like I have all these kids running around my house. We're all locked up. And the guy's like, well, what do you think it would really take to launch it? I'm like, I don't know, maybe $1,000, $2,000, but I don't know, maybe up to 25 or 50 or something. I just kind of threw out some random number. And he's like, okay, I'll wire you tomorrow. I was like, wire me what? He's like, I'll wire you if you'll take over this brand. And it was a big brand that sold a Neiman Marcus, Nordstrom. So no, I'm sorry. This one was actually a fashion brand that had been sold in those. But the same thing happened with the other one. It was the same exact call. They called me up. I said no. I said no. I said no. Then they wired me money. So I acquired a lot of the brands and they paid me.
Yeah, from banks, literally from banks. In other words, from distressed, often when you find that you're the solution to people's problems, you're the first person they just call and deals start to come to you. So one of the things that I hope everybody's getting from this is that it may start off where you are the one looking for deals and posting. And then after a quick amount of time, not a long stretch of time, now people are contacting you with deals. Now banks are calling you, investors are calling, people that want to invest money. So please make sure you're catching that this is the end. This is one of the end products that deals will just start to come to you.
Yeah, absolutely. So this exact training that I'm doing, I was a little bit nervous because I haven't done training stuff like this. I've just been running my own companies. So about 8 or 9 weeks ago, I did a post and I was like, hey, I'm going to teach a few people before I work with the queen of YouTube, Noelle, and her real estate business. I wanted to just kind of test it out. And I was really blown away because I had a couple NFL people join. I had someone from IBM TV, Google. I had the lady that does all the scents for Tiffany's perfume. And I was absolutely blown away at how many, and I say this respectfully, kids were making an enormous amount of money and they were only working a couple of hours a day. And to backtrack a little bit, in full transparency, I had somewhat lost touch with marketing and stuff over the last couple of years because I hadn't been. So during quarantine, when there was nothing to do, I was watching a lot of YouTube videos and on just how to like use Facebook ads and how to use influencers and all that stuff. And it was just taking forever. And you never really know like what videos are good. So I found a couple of college kids online and they're like, hey, I need you to teach me how to use social media. And they're like, we're not going to teach you how to do it, old man. I was like, oh, you suckers. I'm like, what are you guys doing this weekend? They go, we're going to go out, we're going to get hammered. I'm like, cool, I'll Venmo you $700 for beer money. And they're like, what? I'm like, yeah, but on Tuesday, because I know Monday they're going to be hungover. Tuesday, you guys have to hop on a call with me for an hour and you have to work with me for an hour a day. So that's how I learned, was going back through and relearning things and really getting to a state that I need to be coachable and trainable. Because it's really funny. I've got a lot of very wealthy business partners, but a lot of them are all looking for people that are really specialized. Like if you're going to go get brain surgery, you're looking for a surgeon. If you're going to go get this, you're looking for someone really specialized. And honestly, I didn't have a lot of those skills anymore. So over the last 2 years, I've spent about an hour or two a day watching YouTube. And the YouTube videos out there aren't as good as yours. They're pretty painful to watch.
I just get right to it.
I know you do. It happened like yes at the beginning. So I really just had to like humble myself and get back to it. And now it's really funny because I'm really, really good at doing things that nobody else wants to do.
That's right.
And I've learned, some ways to do it. But it's so crazy the doors that are opening. Like I've been on a couple of TV shows. I just found out that I'm going to be doing a launch with another NFL player and Nelly tomorrow. And then I'll show you some of the other stories that are on here too. But so and then just because I'm bragging, we just broke.
No, this isn't. No, hopefully the audience does not take this as bragging, because really and truly, you are such a personable person. Like me and you have chit chat and text each other. Like this is who you are, and so it's definitely not a brag. This is all true stuff. So hopefully the audience is picking up on these are the opportunities that open up when you just start to do things. So no, you keep going because you've done some incredible things, and this fits into what you're teaching. So I'm here for it.
So I know I'm talking a lot about the banks and stuff like that, but honestly, the best way to do this is to do what I did and just post on social media and don't try to create your own product and just find somebody that has something they're really passionate about. You'll be so blown away at how many people just want to make stuff. That's their passion and they're so damn good at it. and that's all they want to do, and they want to like lock themselves in a garage or their kitchen and make. Anyways, and I just put my world record helicopter catch on there too. We broke a world record.
Did you have the picture with can I say his name?
It's on my social media stuff. We are
okay. So yeah, with Devin Punches.
Yeah, so TMZ, ESPN, everybody, a lot of the media companies did a story on it, but I learned how to fly helicopters a couple of years ago because I wanted to take my kids and like land on islands and go fishing and stuff when I lived in Florida. But one of the funny things is as I've met a lot of these people, they're like, oh, we should break a world record. You fly over Denver Broncos Stadium, throw a football, and I'll catch it. I'm like, why not? So
yes, say that again. I'm sorry, you said that super fast.
Yeah,
that's amazing. I'm sorry. Like I'm gonna fly a helicopter over the Denver Broncos Stadium, and then an NFL player I'm gonna throw that ball out of the helicopter, and then an NFL player is gonna catch that ball, and we have a record for that. Like crazy. Fun.
It was the record was set by Gronk of Tampa Bay at 600 feet, and then I flew over at.
And then you beat him.
So, anyway.
Fun fact, actually, real quick, I am now a season ticket holder to the Tampa Bay Bucks.
Are you really?
I'm a Tom Brady fan. Well, so he moved to the team that was closest to me. Just a coincidence. I don't know. So had to do it. All right, keep going.
Actually, I will be in Tampa Bay in 2 weeks. I'm not supposed to talk about it, but I just did. Okay, here we go. So I kind of gone through a lot of these before, but I've done a lot of things right, but I've also made a lot of mistakes. And so as of right now, I logged in the other day, and I think we have 41 companies that we've either invested in, bought, or are partnered with in some way. But getting to this point has been pretty ugly and painful. So I don't mind sharing some of them. Like this is a picture of the top one's how to do it wrong. And what I did wrong a long time ago is I decided to do what everybody else does and find an amazing product and order thousands and thousands of units and get my own warehouse. And you can tell from my son's face, he's not very excited about that. So,
what are those things?
So those are actually, this is a really funny story, but those are water bottles. And I'll tell the story a little bit later of the water bottles, but I'm using this just to kind of demonstrate it. But then later, I realized that a lot of that stuff I don't have to do, and there's other people that will do it. And I went from the top picture to the bottom picture pretty quick. I had a mentor, actually Ron LeGrand, that used to always tell me, every time I would do projects with him, he would say, Brock, and he told me, and I think you know how stubborn, how he is. The less you do, the more you'll make. And I'd be like, all right, I know. And then we'd go into another meeting, like, oh yeah, I'll help you do this and this. Brock! And he would just like yell at me. And then finally I went home like, all right, I'm going to automate this stuff. And when I started to automate it, cars started showing up in my driveway, the helicopter, like it got really, really good, really, really fast when I just decided to go with the flow and not try to create my own stuff, but just find out what was out there and what was working really well. So, so I've got a couple of these. Number one is you don't need to create your own product by yourself. The other thing that I don't really like is you don't need to source stuff from China. If you're sourcing it from China or somewhere else, and it's already an available product that they're going to drop ship, I guarantee you there's thousands of other people that are already selling it, and it's probably garbage. Like you don't want to get involved in a business like that. It's really fun just to work with someone that's down the street or across the country. And then the last part is obviously you don't need to buy a lot of inventory. Right now, I wouldn't buy a lot of inventory because there's a ton of inventory that's been sitting in warehouses and companies are looking to get rid of it. So, and then the other part is I've said this a couple times already. I'm a single dad. I'm raising 4 kids. I have a 3-year-old, a 4-year-old, a 13, and a 17-year-old. I've already changed 3 diapers this morning. And my kids.
I was bad with my 5 tribe of 5.
So, and then my teenagers are going to be up here in a minute. I got to take them to football practice. And most everything that I do without an office. I do it in between my kids' schedules because I really actually enjoy spending time with them. And then occasionally I like to date, but occasionally I get out there. So
nobody I sent you. No, I'm kidding.
So I discovered all this the hard way, and I'm just really going to show you the formula that I use and what I use every day now to do it. I still don't buy a lot of inventory up front. So I went through all this stuff, trying to build my own website. I actually do build a lot of my own sites now, just teaching my kids how to do it, but I don't do anything fancy. And I think that's what you need to understand is that there's a lot of templates that are out there that for a couple $100, you can just put up a site and it's ready to go. I think people just go too crazy and try to get really fancy and stuff. And then there's also people that you can just pay to do it. So try to make the product. We went through a lot of this stuff. And then the last part is try to run it on your own. It just doesn't work. And asking your family and friends for help. Yeah, a good example is Tom Brady. Like if you buy an NFL team, you're not going to put your friends or family in there to be a quarterback, right? But you better put Brock Felt in there because I just broke the world record.
Right.
So, all right. So you talked a little bit about this, and I have already, but over the last 16 months, it's actually higher than 14 brands. I got to go in there and count.
This is the part that you have to spend a little bit on because you buy businesses like I buy houses. So I need people to understand that this is something that is not difficult. And this is a part of the e-commerce thing. Like you don't have to create your own thing. So, oh gosh, get to it. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So you don't have to create your own thing. What you should do is you should figure out a place or if there's an audience for it. And one of the really good things, I don't know if you were there when Jeff said it, but is you really should look for products that solve a problem.
That's right.
And I had no idea, like the butter one is super funny. I'm not a chef, but I didn't know that that chefs or people that are looking to cook are looking for really thick, heavy butters because it doesn't burn, I guess, anyways. You'll go, everyone's probably still rolling their eyes at it, but wait until I tell you the butter story here in a minute.
Right. Wait till they hear it.
Yeah. So just a quick disclaimer before I start showing a bunch of numbers is that these aren't typical. Like a lot of the people that I've worked with or even myself, we have put in the time. A lot of it is just learning the simple core things. I like to use like the Karate Kid story. You don't have to go out and learn brain surgery, but you do have to put in the time and you do have to learn some of the fundamentals the right way. Because I've seen so many people that friends that have come over and they've heard what I'm doing and then they go out and they try to do it their way. They don't leverage it the right way. It just doesn't work. So you got to follow a system. I'll give you the system and you got to put in a little bit of time to do it. But honestly, I don't think I work more than 3 hours a day. I honestly can't because I'm with my kids most of the time. So let's not get grandma to take them, but and then so I'll go through. I hope I'm not beating a dead horse here, but your neighbor does have the best deal. Here's the part of it is if you go online and you start posting on your Facebook or Instagram, or even if you don't have one, I didn't have one a couple of years ago. I just started building it up. As you can't just do a post today and then think that you're going to get the results right away. Like what I would do is I would just start posting really cool stories about local entrepreneurs, right? So just ask them. I used to do Facebook Lives, and I would just have someone come to my house, or I would be out in the neighborhood and I'm like, hey, who owns this bakery? Like the so-and-so. Like, hey, will you tell me the story? And I would just record them live, or I would just take a picture of me and them and post it. Like, hey, this is Bob, or this is Cheryl, and she has this really cool bakery. She started it with her American Express card, and I would tell that story. But I would do a couple of those a week. And after about a month or two of doing that, I was blown away at how many products I got where people were like, oh, you're the product guy. I saw you interview this person. Will you interview me because I have, whatever, a massage business or a product business or a clothing business. And what was even funnier is people started paying me to do it. I was getting like $1,000 to go down to do my dry cleaning and interview the person that owned the dry cleaning business. And then someone else would call and be like, hey, could you do that with me? And I go over and interview them or go to their house. This one young lady that I met was making these hats, and they had these foam things in. She had a patent on them. And I remember getting a call from them. They asked me if I would come down and interview them. It was quite a drive, but then I ended up selling product for them. So that's how I've gotten, I'm pretty sure almost every single one of my products has come through that or from a bank group. The other part of this is I know Facebook ads is super, super technical. and it's not easy to do. And right now they're going through some stuff. Two of my former employees work at Facebook, so so they do a lot of my ad setup. I come up with the creative because I think that I'm smart, but I'm more of like a smart ass with my ads. And I just have fun with it. But then they'll set it up. They'll do the audience. They'll do the data stuff for you. You just need a referral over to them. If you need that, let me know, or I'll show you how you can do that at the end here. And then the last kind of secret to this is I became a little mini, like a micro influencer. But there's a lot of influencers out there too that once they start to see that you're doing these, they'll reach out to you for product deals. So yeah, so it's really, I wish there was like some really deep, dark secret, but these are the secrets. So, so we went through most of these already. I'm actually going to just skip through these real quick because we covered them. But so here it is. I get to tell the butter story. So this lady, Deborah, created a butter product. She was from Atlanta, Georgia. Someone hit me up on Facebook and was like, hey, my friend knows this lady who knows this lady who makes butter. And it was through this whole chain. I was like, I don't know. I don't find whatever butter. So she shipped me her butter, and it was amazing. I can't even explain how this butter works. But it was like 4 little things of butter. Like one was a bourbon butter because she had found somebody that made some really high-end bourbon and made a bourbon butter. She made a peach butter, apple cinnamon. She had a bacon butter. She had all these different types of butters. And it was this cute little package that had like 4 butters in it. And they were really thick, heavy. Okay. And I was like, oh, that's great. Let's see if we can get it into a couple of stores. So I drove down the street, showed it to the guy that owns a place here called The Store. It's literally called The Store. And they're like, oh, we'll sell it like crazy. We have 2 stores. I'm like, great. And then he said, oh, by the way, this other store, they have like 10 stores. They'll sell it there. I'm like, what? I hadn't even gotten it online yet. And then she had already put a website on, so I'm like, hey, we should just run a little bit of ads, and it converted really well. We just spent a couple $100 on ads, and I think we spent $200 or $300 and sold like $1,000 or $2,000 worth of butter. So I was like, wow, those numbers are really good. A 1 to 10, or a 1 to, spend $1, make back 10. That's right. Really, really good.
Yeah.
Why don't I call up QVC and see if they like butter? So I called up, and it was super funny. I'm like, hey, I got this butter thing. Blah, blah. They're like, butter? We've been looking for butter. I was like, oh my gosh, I've been hiding under a rock. I know nothing about butter. So anyways, they loved it. They called us up. I sent her down to QVC, or sorry, HSN. She did HSN.
Yeah.
She went down there. They gave her an acting class. We helped her come up with like a concept for a show. I want to say that she sold, we do a lot of products on there. It was somewhere between like 30 and 40 grand, I believe, a minute in butter.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So
wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, she's like the butter queen.
Yeah.
And this was the best part, and I want everyone to keep this in mind, is in order for her to do that show on HSN, I had already tested it. I already knew that it would do online I think it was a 1 to 8 or a 1 to 10. And I knew that it was good. So I was in, right? And so she calls me up and says, hey, they want to order X amount of butter. It was like several thousand units, but I don't have 20 grand to do it. I was like, I'll wire you now. So that was how I partnered with her. Was I wired her the money. We paid for the butter. We met this rancher in Texas that like had the butter market cornered, and partnered with him. And then the funny part of it too was I was asked to be on a TV show, as part of it, where it was kind of like I was a shark, but they call them eagles. And that's how I met Jeff Hoffman, the CEO of Priceline, founder of Priceline. I was there with Evander Holyfield, and we went down to CNN studios to film it. So my posts on social media introduced me to butter, got her on HSN, me on a TV show, and whoops, I fast there. So anyways, that was the butter story. The next one is some doctors that live down the street from me had created a product that helped diabetics like increase their circulation, and this was actually when I was still pulling stuff out of dumpsters and selling it online. Like, hey, if you can do that with dumpsters, is there any way that you could sell like a a diabetic product or a weight loss product online. And at first I was like, I don't know, let me try it out. So we did. I ran some stuff, and it did really well. And then kind of, this is a funny story, but the original product I believe was called Ultra Life PM. And my assistant came in one day and she said, "This stuff's really good. Like, you can take it at night." Like, I don't really get it. She's like, "Well, I take fen-phen and I take caffeine and pre-workouts and all this other stuff, and you can't take it at night. But this stuff you can take at night." So I'm like, "Oh, let's change the name of the company to Night Trim." And we did, and sales went through the roof. And then, yeah. So then I actually got tired of kind of running it, and I created this diet evaluator thing that you'll see right here. And it cost me $1,700 to create this little diet evaluator thing. And I already knew because what I wanted to do is for people to fill it out, and it would choose which product were the best for them. And I literally I had a couple. Yeah. So this is one of the, this works really, really well online right now still.
Yeah, because my mind is going like, this is great for lead, if you want to even just start a lead generation company.
Yeah. So this
sell the leads, and that's e-commerce too.
Yeah. So this is actually one of the secrets of selling a lot of the product online right now, is whether it's clothing, diet, supplement products, whatever, shoes. If you do a little evaluator, and there's actually a software plugin you get, it's like $29 a month, and it'll just build this for you. But okay. I was a big baller back in the day, and I spent $1,700
to custom build it.
Yeah.
Custom code it.
Yeah, it was horrible. It took forever to do it, but now you can pop one up pretty quick.
Yeah.
But some guy called me up, and we're like, "Hey, we really like what you're doing. We know you're doing about 50 to 100 grand a month because I just launched it." And I was like, "Yeah, I want to do this forever. It's so awesome." They're like, "We'll give you 2.5 million for it." I was like, sold. I'll take it. So I sold it to them, and this is even the funnier part of it is about 3 months later. So they're a private equity firm, and I guess I don't know what they do with it, but I guess they pull the data out and they do something with it. And then they called me back up about 3 months later. I'm like, "Hey, we're done with the site." I'm like, "What does that mean?" I'm like, "Well, do you want it back?" "Sure, I guess I want it back. What? I don't know what that means." And they're like, "Yeah, we're done with that." I'm like, "All right, I don't understand, but yeah, I'll take the site back." So I took the site back and I ran it again. And a couple months later, they called me again. I'm like, "Hey, we'll buy it from you again." And I don't. Yeah, I think I don't know. I still don't know what private equity firms do with it. But I guess they take the model and they do something with it overseas or replicate the business. Anyways, I sold the website twice.
That is so cool. So what is that? Okay, so we gotta, because the audience is gonna want to know this. Yeah. What does it look like when you sell a business and they wire all of that money into your account? What does that look like when you just go and you refresh and then there's
It's super awkward. It was really weird to me because I honestly thought I had done something like illegal because I was only making like 50 grand or 100 grand at the time. And they were like, "We would buy 2.5 million. So I remember calling my attorney and I'm like, am I allowed to pay that much money for a site?" And and apparently you are. So
it's definitely legal.
Yeah, it's definitely legal. But so it was shocking. I mean, I think I left the money in the account for a long time because I honestly didn't really know what to do with it. I'm pretty content just with what I had. But then after a couple months, I may have bought a helicopter. But,
you are so awesome. That's so funny. I had to ask that because like, what does it look like? I actually haven't ever gotten millions in a few minutes or anything. It takes me a year and stuff like that. So I don't know what it's like to refresh that button and it just goes up by 7 figures. So I'm still waiting on that day. You probably just have to teach me that one.
Yeah. Well, you know what's funny? So right now, it's pretty much the same thing right now. There's a lot of private equity funds that are looking to buy direct-to-consumer or e-commerce businesses. And if they're somewhere around 300 to 500K a month in revenue, they'll pay about $8 to $10 million for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're very, very aggressive about acquiring them. It also depends on like what your profit margins are. And there's
It's true. No, Kevin, it's funny you said that. Kevin Harrington was kind of talking to me through some of those things as well. Because same thing, like you guys kind of introduced me to a world I did not know about, like buying other people's businesses like this in the e-commerce. So no, you keep going. This is great information. I'm like listening intently.
So this one's really cute. This young lady hit me up on Facebook or Instagram. I forget where it was. And she said, hey, I make makeup. I was like, okay. But I make like paranormal makeup. I was like, well, you're gonna have to explain that a little bit to me. So she was actually, she would order like $1,000 to $2,000 of her own product from China, and it would come in, and she'd sell 5 to 10 grand of it in a week. And then she'd have to go order more product again, because and it would take 6 weeks to get here, and then she'd sell 5 to 10 grand of it. She'd have to order more product. And she had been doing that for a long time and just kind of was tired of it. So if you wanted to really scale it, and she contacted me and was like, hey, will you, can you help me? Will you partner with me? I have this thing. So once again, I went through my same process. I ran some ads. It did pretty well. I don't remember what it was. It was somewhere around a 1 to 8. I was like, yeah, I would love to do this. And she said, oh, by the way, I'm also a paranormal expert, and I have a TV show on Amazon. Would you like to be on my TV show? So I got some of my NFL buddies, and we went on her TV show, which comes out pretty soon. But yeah, so we put some money into this right away, and this is going to be one of our bigger brands. Yeah. So it's a makeup beauty line, but this one, once again, was referred to me through, and I just partnered with her on it. We put a little bit of money in. She gave us some ownership in the company for doing the marketing, and then we put money in, and we actually bought part of the company as well. And then because we're fair, we said, look, you're trying to give us way too much of your company. Don't give us this much of your company. Once we hit $1 million in sales, then give us this. Once we hit $5 million in sales, then give us this. Yeah. And now we have the most amazing, trusting, best relationship with her, and she's incredible. She does some really cool things on like with video. So she's very talented.
Yeah, no, she's amazing.
So this is another one that I acquired. This is the one that was down the street from the bank, or down the street that the bank referred me. But the bank called up and said, how much money do you need for advertising? I was like, I don't really know. So they wired me money for consulting. They paid me 25 grand, plus they gave me $2,500 that I could use to run ads. So I started running ads with it. It's a fashion brand. I started running ads with it. I started with $2,500. I think it made like 10 grand the first week. And then of that 10 grand, I took $2,500 out and ran ads again with it. And then I did that one more time, and then I brought influencers in. So my total ad spend over about a 6-week was around $8,000, which I don't know if you can see that on my screen right there.
Yeah.
And then, it did $169,000 in sales. So I don't even know what that is. That's like a 1 to 20, something like that, right?
Yeah. So, like crazy.
Yeah. So we are all over that one. And that
one. So real quick, because I need everybody to kind of understand. So this is literally a screenshot of your Facebook ad account showing how much ad was spent. That top part there, that's, so for those that are not aware, like of just running Facebook ads. So that's the ad account at the bottom, at the top. And then at the bottom is the Stripe. That's the merchant processing. That's a dashboard showing how many sales of the product came in. So like, and anybody that knows Stripe, PayPal, Facebook ads, these are legitimate screenshots. So
one of the things that's important, I think, to understand too, is it does say that there was $8,000 spent in ad spend. Never, ever, ever, ever do I start with more than $100.
Right.
So every account
that's over the lifetime of that campaign. So what were you doing? Like $100 a day or $50 a day, or like what are you?
Start with about $100 a day. If that $100 does $300 to $400 in sales that day, then tomorrow I'll do $200. If that $200 does $500 to $800 in sales, then I'll do more. And then everyone calls and like, oh, just slam it. And the answer is no. I'll do 500 to 1,000, and then I just go, because there's more to it than just that. You want to make sure you do good customer support. You want to make sure that the product's being shipped. I can tell you horror stories, and I'm the best in the world at this, of putting a bunch of just slamming a site with it, backing up the warehouse with product, and they can't get it out on time.
And they can't get it out. Yeah. Good problem to have in a business, but
Yeah, but it also can backfire on you. So this is a fashion.
Absolutely.
Brand. We started with 2,500. I kind of went through all this stuff already, but this is another really fun one that came to me. One of my really close friends. So I met this gentleman. He's had $3 billion in exits, and that's not important. But he hit me up on Facebook. He said, "Hey, I've been watching you on Facebook. Do you know who I am?" And I was like, "Nope. You should Google me." So I was like, "All right." And I Googled him, I called him up, like, you sold a company for $1.8 billion? He's like, yeah. Do you ever like work with people and stuff? I was like, sure, what do you want to do? And he's like, well, I bought all the cartoons. I like don't even know what that means. What do you mean you bought all the cartoons? Yeah, I bought all the cartoons. I owned so a company out of LA was holding all of the original celluloid cartoons, like the actual plastic
Yeah.
made on, right?
Yeah.
So they were in bankruptcy. He went down there and got millions and millions and millions of dollars worth of them for very, very little and brought them to a warehouse here in Salt Lake. And so they're here. Some of them are here in a warehouse because we've sold a lot.
In an undisclosed place.
Yeah. It honestly is kind of an undisclosed space. They're fanatics for these things.
Yes. So, you would have to hide. This is like baseball cards and Pokemon, those collectors. This is value.
So this is another one that just came out of nowhere. And I actually didn't do this one. He did it and then came to me with it. But because I do my own stuff too. But anyways, he came to me. It's a celluloid business that had millions in the warehouse. But on this one, we had to do a little bit slower. Like originally he was nervous that if we just sold all of them really quick, the value of them would go down. It's like if you put too many diamonds into the marketplace, right? The value goes down.
Right.
So so we did a really slow roll. We did about 50K in sales, and he'd kill me if I told you how much we're doing right now. But anyways, this was another one of those just crazy products that popped up, and I could go on. I probably get 5 to 10, 15, 20 of these that come in every day or every week. And the reason why we're doing this is I'd love some help with some of them, and we can talk about it a little bit at the end. He also just contacted me. Actually, Son contacted me yesterday and said they went to Japan and they did the same thing, and they're all being boated over here, and there's a lot on the way. So
I love it.
Another one. This one came in last night. It's blurred on purpose because I didn't want to show the brands. But a cell phone accessory company contacted me yesterday and said we have almost $2 million in cost of goods of cell phone accessories, like cell phone cases, the glass that goes on them, just all kinds of little cool leather cases. I was like, wow, that's a lot of them. There's $2 million worth of $2 million in cost of goods. So the actual value of the total thing is about $7 million that they have. Would you be interested in buying it for $300,000? I was like, oh, that's a really good deal. No, okay, fine. Would you be interested in selling them, and then we'll just drop ship them for you, but you can still own them all. But if you're not going to pay us, then we can just pay us as we sell them. I'm like, okay, I'm in. So I'm acquiring $7 million worth of cell phone accessories for $0.
Wow.
So
with $0.
Yeah, well, I'll have to put some money into ads, right?
Of course.
$100.
And we'll get into that, because that is that's how you're going to get the money back. So that's all you're spending the money on. You're not buying the product. You're not buying the services. You're not creating anything. You just take some of the money that you have, and in some cases they'll give it to you for the marketing. So
here is one thing that's really, really important to think of is you always want to build something long-term that you can sell. So if I sell all these, they're probably going to be gone in 60, 90 days. Mm-hmm. And then I'm kind of done with this business. So what I'm actually going to do is build a cell phone accessory website where I'm going to sell these. And then as they start to sell over the next 30, 60 days, I'm going to find out what sells the best. Then I'm going to go make my own product in China or wherever, so that I can keep the website going and I can sell it to a private equity firm. Because it's great to have $7 million in inventory, but if I sell it all and it's done, I make really good money. But now there's all this work that I did to build it, it's done. So I am going to go make my own accessories pretty soon, or I'm going to create a long-term partnership with them so that I can keep this running for years, just like what you do with your real estate, right? You build an asset and then you make money on it for a really long time. And then when you feel like selling it or you get a really good offer, then you can sell it.
That's right.
Yep. So that's the, so they have 1.9 in cost of goods. And I think that the total value is somewhere around 7 million, but
yeah.
Okay. the biggest part of all this for me has been the disposable income. Like I haven't had to put all this money into things. It kicks out money. I usually pull money out about every month, if not every quarter. I know when I first got started, I pulled money out every day, but that is what's nice about it that I like. That's a little bit different than I think real estate or some of the other things is. In real estate, you gotta wait for them to pay rent or whatever. But on these, like the cash comes in every day.
Every single day. And so let me, I have to take a time out because that's what, one of the things, I guess I tell people, real estate is my core thing, but I've gotten into more of these products and services, and getting money every single day is incredible. It was one of the things that I wrote down that I wanted. I wanted money to come to my account every single day. And it wasn't until I had books and podcasts and some of these other, products that go along with my thing that I was able to create that. So it really does. It is life-changing. And you're right. Rent on your properties comes in once a month, but if you have products, money's coming in every single day. Crazy.
And what is also funny too is I'm wanting to do more real estate. You're wanting to do more.
Right. That's why we're here.
I have some other business partners. You're partners with them too. They've done a lot of real estate. So a lot of the cash that we're making from our internet stuff, we're putting into real estate.
Right.
That's kind of our model.
Real estate is long term. It doesn't give you money every single day like that. So
no, it's super safe. It's super secure.
It's super safe. Correct. Yeah. And it's a great wealth builder. It really builds up your personal wealth. So if you ever need to borrow against or leverage it, having real estate is game changing for leveraging if you're ever in a down situation.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So I partnered with them because they were tired of going out and getting investors. So what we're doing now is we're investing a little bit of time, a little money, creating our own little mini banks, and then investing into it. So, I would just kind of go through this stuff right here. So this is there's been a lot of stuff that's been shared on here. I know that it's really simple, but I think everybody would agree that knowing how to do this is extremely valuable, and it's been worth the time to be on here. I do want to say one other thing just to brag a little bit, and I'm totally bragging on this one. But I've gotten so good at this that usually within minutes I can tell whether or not a product will sell. So I was actually invited to CES a couple years ago to compete against IBM Watson. So so this guy that looks super serious, that's me. This is John Fanning. He is the original CEO of Napster, first investor in Uber. This young man right here, John, was part of a Google funded incubator and had done about $100 and something million just on Kickstarter.
Crazy.
I lost my spot here.
The wrong way.
And then this is IBM. That's John again. And then she is from IBM. And so anyways, we were on a TV show to kind of compete against it. And what's funny is a lot of the stuff that you learned on here today is stuff that we went over that we just used on the show, right? We actually beat Watson because he couldn't get Watson to function. But anyways, it was a really good time. So I just want to kind of go over the offer. If you are interested in working with me, and I'd be really, really excited. One of the biggest challenges that I'm having right now is I am getting an enormous amount of deals that come in. The deal flow is insane. I can't take advantage of all of it. And I am looking for partners to partner up that can help me take some of these deals off of it. But more than that, it's not just about like handing deals over. In order to do something like that, you really need to learn and practice some of the basics. So I've partnered up with Noelle, who's a ninja at teaching that stuff, so that there is a way that we can all work together. Number one, that you can get trained properly if you want to learn how to do this stuff. But then the other part of it is if you go through the training and if you enjoy it and if you're good at it, then there is some opportunity for us to partner up on some deals, whether that's something that you already have, something that we have, or hopefully something that one of your neighbors or somebody has, because I promise you those are the best deals. So I'm going to go through this pretty fast, and I don't know, Noelle, if you want to talk a little bit about it, but one of the things that I had to really come to terms with is that old habits die hard. I told you earlier in the webinar that I had to go back and I had to relearn some things. Like I had to humble myself a little bit. I had to turn off the net. I don't think everyone talks about all the Netflix they watched during quarantine. I didn't. I decided to spend a couple of hours a day just doing other things, like learning a new habit. And I have a very, very short attention span. So I think I did an hour in the morning, an hour at night. and it worked out really, really well for me. So if you're willing to let those old habits die hard and you're willing to not fill your garage up with stuff and you're willing to learn, then you'll be thrilled with this. What we do for a living, this is one of my favorite pictures in the whole world, is we launch entrepreneurs. And so this is Marielle. She's someone that that we worked with, that we put through our training, that we invested in, and the one that I told you about before. So these are my two other partners that are absolute maniacs. This guy runs a huge finance company, one of ours. And
John?
Yeah, John. That's John and Cody.
Okay, that's what I thought. I was like, is that John? I don't know who the other guy is though.
Yeah. So we partnered up and we put together a program. I just want to kind of go through what it is. I launched this 6-week course before. We had some amazing results through it. Go ahead.
Oh man, did he freeze?
Oh, now I'm here. Can you see me?
Okay, there you go. Yeah, you froze for a second.
Oh, I did. I was probably just practicing launch pose. So we put together a 6-week training program. I have launched this before. I did charge $2,500 for it the last time I did it. I don't have a lot of time, like I've said before. So it's a very small group. It's an exclusive group. If you want to go through it with us. The first part of it is it's a 6-week training. You have to be on the 6 weeks.
You have to commit to every week. You can't miss one of the weeks because it's too important.
It's too important. I have some really fun business partners that want to join on it as well. So I do have some NFL players that are going to chime in from time to time. I have people from IBM, and every single one of them is there for a very selfish reason of their own, which is to either partner with you. A lot of them like to invest, and a lot of them just want to launch other businesses. And then the partners that I have, the reason why I'm able to acquire all those companies is because those two partners that I showed you are absolute maniacs at business automation. Cody, this is a super incredible, funny story, but Cody, one of my business partners, will go onto like job websites and he'll find $15 an hour jobs that just require you to do data entry. Then he'll go over to the Philippines and he'll hire people for $2.
Yes.
Have you heard about him doing this?
Yes. Me and Cody. Cody is a genius. Cody is a freaking genius and just lives and takes it.
Yeah.
More power to him. And he just gets to be a dad and doesn't have to do that other stuff. So I'm like.
Yeah. So they've automated everything that I've done. Cody and them are going to come on and they're going to teach the business automation side of it. The other part of it is, and this is really the thing that's the biggest secret of the whole thing, is I have what I call my 6M formula. I actually created the 6M formula to train my sons because I wanted it to be super, super simple. And I'll give you a couple of them really quick. Whenever I go into a company that I'm looking at or going in for consulting to help them, I can usually find the problem within the first 3 M's. And number one is the market. Like, are they selling a product to a market that wants the product, right? The other part is the message. Do they have the right messaging for the people? And then the last part is the right media or medium. Are they connecting them? And I'll tell you a really quick story on this. This is super important. A company came to me a long time ago. And they wanted to sell an arthritis product or a joint product online. And so number one is we started running ads, and it was really hard to hit that demographic because previous to that, they weren't necessarily online, right? And then the second part of that was like on the medium, like, so there was the market, were we able to get to them? The message, how are we getting the message to them? And then the last part was the media, like the media. So like, how are we running ads and stuff to connect to them? The biggest disconnect that they had, and I figured this out really quick, is that they were trying to get people to click on a link to buy. And a lot of those people in that demographic didn't want to click on a link to buy. What do older people love to do? Call.
Learn, talk.
They love to call.
Yeah. They like to talk. They need to learn.
Yeah.
They need information first. Yeah.
So they they do need to learn. So all I did was put a phone number on there, and their phones blew up. And then we kind of worked backwards with this. So there's actually 6 of them that I go through. I'll give you the other ones as we go through the course, but that's part of it. The other part of it is we do a lot of really, really fun events. We have our helicopter thing, but we also do a lot of in-person events for investors. I'll get 200 to 300 investors here locally. If you have a product that's good, one of the biggest mistakes people make is like, oh, I want to start a company, I'm going to go raise money. That's not how it works. So if you take something like butter and you put a little bit of butter on the line, and you can prove that it doesn't one day, every investor in the world will want to work with you. But it doesn't cost a lot of money to do that. You just have to prove that you have a machine that will produce money and butter,
right?
And then every investor will work to it. So, so if you do join, for those of you that are lucky enough to join the training, I would also like to extend a couple of private invites.
Yeah, and your events are amazing, and I've been at them, so that'll be a chance too. If some of the students, if they're serious, that's how they'll meet us in person at times too. That's who we partner with, our students that are serious.
Yeah. So there's been a lot of people, honestly, I know that this is one of the things that you really want me to cover, but some of the biggest successes I've really seen are the stay-at-home moms have done very, very well with it. I think part of it is because they actually listen. And then the other part is they're just really, really good with money and just making sure that they don't waste anything. Some of the other ones that it's worked for is college students. I have a lot of college students that are in my program or in my courses. And then anybody that wants to create a side hustle. I've been blown away by some of the people that I've got someone who's a mechanic. I've got someone who's a welder. I've got people that have corporate jobs at Google. Google was on the program. So
no, that's my wheelhouse. Those side hustlers, those are my people. Like, okay, you turn the side hustle into a real thing. Now you're got something going.
So So anyways, there's a couple of options. I'm not even really gonna go through the first option. The options here are pretty simple. Either you do it or you don't. Anyways, it's a lot easier. I really wish that I didn't have to go through all the YouTube videos and pay college students and to spend all the time. So Noelle's made it really, really easy, and she's actually automating the whole thing for me to make it really easy. She's amazing at her online training, so it'll be done through there. And there's a lot of other people that have gone through the training, or I've even just worked with. Bronson's going to probably participate in it. He's playing for Green Bay this year. He went through the training last year. He actually is going to jump on the calls because what he wants to do is with anybody that joins, he wants to pair you up with professional athletes to help promote your products.
That's right.
And then Jeff, I think when he was at the event, he said his company is now worth $98 billion. And he's one of the ones that, as something gets a little bit bigger, that I like to present stuff to. So
he's awesome.
We just go. You want to help me recap this? Everything that through. So there's a 6-week training.
It's a lot.
And we're going to start that pretty soon. The second part is a business automation program by Cody and them. They're the ones that run all of my businesses and do all of it. The 6M business resources will come with all the spreadsheets, all the documents, everything that I use to evaluate a deal and to run it. The private invites and the total value of that is somewhere around 12, just barely underneath $12,000. The other part of it that I want to do, because you have really, really good people on your program, is I do want to throw out another bonus. I would love for the first 30 people. They say that successful people are quick to make a decision and slow to change it, if ever. And I found that to be true. And so for those of you that are quick to make a decision and slow to change it, if whatever, I would love to work with you. I'd love to actually review your product on the webinars live or on the trainings live and go through it with my team, with Noelle, and with everybody else that's on there to really help you build your business. So that is one of the bonuses that we wanted to throw out. The other one is there are some sourcing websites that you can use, and they're like my little black book that I don't share with everybody. But I'd be more than happy to share those with anybody that
I don't even have this, so I'm like, I want that.
So I'm just gonna kind of recap and go. Anyways, if all you did was learn this process and you didn't even launch your own business, you could do exactly what Noelle said. You don't have to start your own business. You could probably even do consulting for someone. The other thing that you could probably even do is just refer deals over to us. So that's another part of it. And then even if you just started aside, I have a lot of people that have come through and they said, look, I don't want to go super crazy like what you're doing and building it really big, but I'd be super happy with a couple grand extra every month. And that's exactly what they do. They just come in, they work it a couple hours a week, and they're making a couple of grand extra every single month. So I've been paid at least 25 grand for this quite a few times. I did offer it actually for 2,500 and for 2,000 a couple of times. If you're a part of Noelle's group, or you're listening to this because we were referred to you, Noelle's convinced me and set it up that you can get it for just $997. So the website's live, right?
Yes.
Yes. So
The
you can,
website is live, and the mastermind is live too, so that they understand that when we say a 6-week training, these are not recordings. This is us live. This is Brock live for 6 weeks. Like, this is incredible. I really did have to talk him into making it affordable, making it something, and we didn't want to go crazy. And again, you should have learned enough today where if you don't, want to do the mastermind, you've learned a lot. You have a ton of notes, because I have a ton of notes. But for those that want to take it to the next level, that really want to get connected, that want to be on a live call with me and Brock and other NFL players and other multimillionaires and brilliant CEOs, and get access to resources, then this is the mastermind. I've never, ever offered this. Brock has never, ever offered this. This is like us testing to see, okay, we get a lot of DMs. Me and Brock, he says he has a small following on his social media. I don't have a small following, but I don't have the biggest either. And we are getting blown up asking about opportunities to talk with us one-on-one, to be able to ask their questions one-on-one. And we're going to give you a chance in a second. We're going to answer a couple of questions. We're going to stay on here and just answer a couple more questions for you guys. But this is new. This is incredible. This is something that we want to do. This is going to be held on Wednesday evenings at 9 p.m. Again, live Zoom calls. We have to limit it because obviously there's only a certain number of people that can join a live Zoom. So we are being super exclusive, super restrictive, and really want serious people. Like, this is super inexpensive for 6 full weeks of training, with all of the training materials, with the resources, with the team building stuff. The first 30 people that take advantage of this offer are literally going to have Brock and I reviewing their deals live on the Zoom calls. So that's going to be a part of the mastermind that we do. So again, this is not even something that I'm going to leave up here on these streaming platforms for a long time. So this was an amazing training. This is going to be an amazing mastermind. Again, never, ever done before. Multimillionaires taking time out of their schedule to say, okay, this is what we're doing. And we are going to mastermind and pour into people that don't want to create a product. They don't have millions of dollars to buy real estate, or don't have the credit. They don't want to do any of those things. So I have my real estate stuff where I teach you guys that, but this is more so honestly for those who want something different than real estate. Okay. I have tons of videos and trainings teaching you guys on how to acquire real estate. This is not acquiring real estate. This is, product services of other people's putting deals together, how I've gotten funds, how I've gotten millions and oh my gosh, here we go again. And he has another bonus.
I have to throw this out because, so we're doing an event and we will continue to do them, but we're doing another one at the end of next month. And I do want to throw this out there. It's a female only, sorry guys, it's a female only entrepreneur event, and men can come. But there are so many companies out there, private equity funds, VC funds right now, that have made diversity pledges from minorities to females that they will write checks. And so I do want to throw out an invite. I've seen so many times, I did this right before quarantine. I invited so many female entrepreneurs down to come to the event. And I literally had investors with funds that had to write $100,000 checks to $250,000 checks, because that was part of their diversity pledge. It was part of their fund. It was part of the tax incentives that they had gotten. They had to write checks. I was so disheartened.
Say it. Disheartened, disappointed. Say it.
Yeah,
say it. I want you to.
A lot of them didn't show up because, number one, they probably weren't confident in what they're doing. And that's another reason why we're doing this training, is because we want you to feel confident coming down and knowing what you do. And then the other part of it is I just think, and I'll just say it how it is it's predominantly been a men's run world, like, and especially on the finance side. And so I would love to invite, especially any minority or female, to come down. It's at the end of the month. We have some really, really fun investors that come. The lady that's there on stage in the picture right now is her father actually started one of the largest funds probably in the country. It's a multi-billion-dollar fund. Her business partner, so they own this Beauty Lab Laser. They do this, and they're so fun if you want to follow them on Instagram. Heather Gay is the one that's in the background, who's normally not in the shadows. She's on the Housewives of Salt Lake. And her family from the other side is Gay Capital. So I believe they're out of California, but they're another multi-billion-dollar fund. The gentleman that is sitting right there is Bill. Bill's been a really good mentor of mine. At one point, I believe he was giving Skull Candy $2.5 million a month to help them grow. And then he has a bunch of other deals. Sydney is one of the biggest rock stars I know. The fund that she represents has raised three $100 million funds.
Three $100 million funds.
Yeah, it's called Kickstart Seed Fund. They're amazing. They do a really good job. And then the gentleman that's in the hat, there's a whole stage full of people that are there. They're not sharks. They're there to help out. But the gentleman in the hat, Doug Jessup, is from ABC4, and then he covers all the stories and helps get the publicity and stuff out there. The only thing that we need is that really required is just to have a concept, an idea, a little bit of a test, right? Like we talked about.
A little bit.
Get your butt on stage and take the money.
Right.
Really
and the expertise. And not only are they willing to give you money, they literally are willing to give you expertise, mentors. You've mentored people for free. I've mentored. They put you in groups. I've helped with other funds where they have all this funds and they'll take successful entrepreneurs to mentor those people, because you don't want to just give the person money and not give them any help. So it's so valuable. I love these events, and you're right. Not enough women. I'll go ahead and say it. Not enough women, not enough minorities, not enough of us. Okay. And I'm just saying us because people know who I'm talking about. And at the same time, there's no other way to just start putting yourself out there. You're going to have to start making a different decision. You're going to have to start being different. You're going to have to start trying something different and be around different people. And the only way to start getting connected to multimillionaires and millionaires and people that are successful and can mentor you is to step out and start doing things like this. Now, again, this is not for everyone, but if you're feeling like this is something for you, then it probably is. And you could be at these events, you could get in these trainings, you could be on these Zoom calls, you can be doing what me and Brock are doing. We were not little babies crawling around, big bad entrepreneurs. This is something that we've developed over time. So this is your opportunity. If you're watching, this is flooring to me. This bonus number 3, I am like the first 10 people getting invited to events that literally hundreds of millions of dollars, like you said, committed, like they have to write a check because they said that they would. And then there's people that don't show up.
Yeah. If you'll notice, the other thing about the picture too, it's not Shark Tank. I'm on stage with you. Like I walked them through it. I can't tell you how many times I'm like, what they mean to say is this. And then they get deals done. But the last part of this, and I'll just share this real quick, is a gentleman was at one of my last events. We only chose 10 people to go up on stage. He was on the corner of the stage and would not stop pestering me. Please put me on stage. Please put me on stage. Please. He just would not stop. Finally, we had like 3 minutes left. I'm like, look, we end at 4. He's like, it's 3:57. I was like, fine. So he gets up on stage. He's like, hey, I made this new invention. And he had a backpack on. I was like, oh my gosh, we're going to get pitched a backpack. And it like, pretend there's an active shooter. And he pulls these things and like, it was like all of a sudden he had like this, like an airbag bulletproof suit around him. I was in shock. I was like, no way. I've never seen anything like that. He walked out of there with a $2.5 million check.
I bet.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
So, I mean, a lot of them are smaller than that, but my point is that you need to get out there. And if you are looking for investment money or partners or someone to coach, this is the next 6 weeks are a perfect opportunity for you to get something together that's presentable, and then you can go and you can raise more capital. So don't use your own money. You don't need to use your own money. And right now, banks are willing to offer it, and people have product down the street, and there's quick and easy ways to do it. We're coming out of a pretty crazy time with quarantine, but it's also crazy awesome because a lot of people are getting money from the government. The government's willing to help out with things. Banks are willing to work with you, and we're willing to work with you too. And we're always looking for deals. We're always looking for great deals. And the best way for me to get deals, I can't tell you, I think I've gotten 8 or 9 text messages while I've been on this webinar, and they're all people that want deals. The biggest challenge that I have is talking to someone, because it takes me hours to explain to them, this is why it's not a good deal. You need to do this, you need to do this. And that's why I always take all of my deals from the trainings that I do, because I know that they're little ninjas. They know exactly what to do, how to do it, how to present it to us. So
that's right.
Once again, you can go there. sign up
So
for it.
leave this on the screen, what we're gonna do, because like I said, this is never before. This is probably not gonna be up. Like obviously this is a live stream. This is absolutely live. Brock and I'm in Florida, Brock is in Utah, and we're live here. So this is, we'll stream this and then it's probably coming down. So if you're interested in you saw the bonuses, go ahead and take it in, because we have to limit that. So we're gonna go and take some questions and answers. I have my moderator kind of behind me, and they're going to read off some of the questions that people are asking. And then Brock or I are going to just stay on for a few minutes and just answer these questions. Ah! Okay, so I have to pull out another phone, not my phone. See, I have 2 phones.
Oh.
Actually, I got 3.
Yeah.
Because I'm cool like that. Okay. All right, here we go. Okay. You can join. All right, that's oh Lord, I should have got my glasses. I get a lot of comments. Hello, beautiful. Hello, hello. Hi, Jakor. Hi, Lakeisha. Hi, Kenneth. Naturally nervous. She's already up here. The Amish butter. Okay, somebody's talking about butter. Naturally Nura says the Amish butter is the best butter I've ever had. All right, guys, so start asking your questions. I'm not really getting any questions. I see people are good morning. Somebody said, please help me. Suzanne, what's your question? You said, please help me. Help you do what? So just looking for some questions. If you have any, hold on, because my team, I can't see that. I'm all of 40. I cannot see like that no more. Tiny little words.
Yeah.
No one's asking any questions. So wait, actually, no. So we just got another question. Okay, so one of the questions, oh, sorry, we did. So one of the questions that was just asked was, what are we going to be going over in the next, what are we going to be going over in the next 6 weeks? So Brock, I'll actually let you answer that. Kind of how it's going to be laid out. The training will be for each week.
So it's pretty simple. There's 6 M's. So each week we'll cover one of them. So like on the very first one, we're going to cover the market. Like what markets are looking for. Then we'll go over the message. Like how do you message those people? What's the right thing to say? What's the wrong thing to say? And we'll go through each one of them each week. On each one of the calls throughout each week, I'll bring on different guests. It could be someone from IBM or an NFL player or someone like that wants to partner. And I'll always have investors on the call. So if you have a product already, then let me know ahead of time, because I would love to use that product as an example to either show you how to grow what you're doing or how to fix it if you're in a rough spot. And then the other part is, I've just got a lot of really fun partners that want to come on and want to. I have a lot of friends that want to find products that they can invest in because they're they made a lot of money and they really like what we're doing. And so they'll be on there. So we'll have like a guest speaker that adds some sort of value. We'll have investors on there. But I'm just going to walk you through it. And I have a lot of deals that have come in over the last couple of weeks that honestly, I don't have the time to do them. Yeah, I'm sure I could hire 5 to 10 employees. I'm not going to do that. Like I had 80 to 100 employees once before, and it was a nightmare. What I'd rather do is train and then hand some of those deals over. So you can bring your own product. You can just come fresh and decide whether you want to create your own product or if you just want to partner on us with one. And I do have 1 or 2 friends that don't do any of the training. They don't even want to be on the training calls. They just post on social media and send me leads, and they get really, really nice checks every month. And that's an opportunity too. So that's what we'll cover throughout it.
I love it. So another question, because this was a good one, and I'll give you a little bit of detail. So to add to what you said, because one of the things I absolutely love about your masterminds, and one of the things that we're able to do when we get a smaller together on a Zoom call is we can share our screens. You can share your screen. So if you're a student, you're saying, hey, can you take a look at my website on a Zoom and we're teaching, you can go ahead and share your screen. We can say, hey, move this here, move this here. We can give you tips and tricks right on the spot so you can immediately get your question answered and move and progress. That's one of the things. Like I said, I am a student of coaching, mentoring, masterminds, which is why I do try to offer it, because that's how I got successful, getting connected with people that were ahead of where I was. And sometimes it was scary. Sometimes I had to pull out my credit card, but at the same time, it was the way that I learned to be the person, the multimillionaire that you're seeing here today. I literally did not know how to flip houses properly. It was someone that taught me that. Then I was trying to, have rental properties. And then once I had those and wanted to start teaching it, I needed someone to teach me how to teach and how to create that as a stream of income. So every time I've done coaching from someone that's been successful, that's really hands-on, that I felt was a good fit, it's always worked out for me. And it really is just a feeling. So for anyone that's listening to this, know that this is just a feeling. And if you feel like doing it, you shouldn't. If you feel like this is not for you, then you shouldn't, because it's going to be what you put into it. But know that it is really kind of hands-on, a small group. It's a Zoom call. You can share your screen. Brock can share your screen, the different people that are on there. It's live on camera. There's a chat box, like it's really interactive. So that's how masterminds work. And again, you're masterminding with successful people and like-minded people. No one's on the call, watching TV or Netflix. These are people that are entrepreneurs. We're looking for deals. We're telling you what to do, and we're telling you how to get paid, how to get money from this. And people that have money that are trying to do something with it. Because that's another thing that I have to say is having a lot of cash, you do have to invest it. Having just hundreds of millions sitting in a checking account, that ain't it, so you want to invest in people that are doing business so you can have your money making money. And that is why a rich person would invest in your business. So if you're wondering why would they do that, because cash is nothing. After a while, after a certain number, it really is just money.
Yep.
Okay, so we have another question, because this is a really, really good one. So 2 questions, sorry. One of them was, how many days of the week is the training? So the training is 6 weeks. It's 1 day per week. So it's 6 classes. Like he said, each 6 is 6 M's, 6 weeks. Each week we're going over one of the M's, and it all fits together at the ends. Okay, that was the first question. And the second question, we'll go on a little bit. You'll have to elaborate on this one a little bit, Brock. Is they said, I jumped on late. So this is from Tracy Numa. She says, I jumped on late. Do I need a product, or does the program help me with a product?
That's a really good question. So if you have a product, that's actually better, because then we can just start fresh, and I can show you either how to find products through social media, or there are products that are available that we get all the time that we'd be more than willing, if you learn things and if you're on all the calls, that we'd be willing to share some of those with you. If you do have a product and you sign up, please just let me know ahead of time that you have a product, so that I can go through and evaluate it and show you how and where to sell it or to scrap it, and whether there are some other things that you could find. Because right now there's enough product in the marketplace and enough banks and everyone else that have products. I get 50 to 100 emails a week of people that have product, and they're just looking for somebody that can partner with them and to sell it. And those are to me, those are the best deals. So if you have a product, no, you don't need one. If it's better if you don't have one, because I can just show you how to do it the right way. If you already do have one, just let me know, and I'll help, and I'll see if it's a good fit for what we do and for online, or if we need to change it up a little bit.
Okay, good. We got a lot of questions. So I'm going to get going, because now the questions are pouring in. So one of the questions, Miss Lady says, is this good for startups?
Yeah, so almost everything that we do is a startup.
Yes.
I mean, pretty much
correct.
It's pretty much only startups. If you're a $5 to $10 million business already, then I mean, we'd probably do some consulting or something like that with you. But if you're under a couple $100,000 a month, or even under $1 million a month, then this is a good program for you.
Absolutely. Okay, so another question, Suzanne Whitney says, so are we going to be the middlemen? So she thinks
so if you want to be a middleman and you want to send us products for us to sell, you can. If you want to partner with somebody that has a product and you want to sell their product online, you can. Or what I've done, one of the things I don't, for some reason I didn't see the slide on here, is I found this young lady that was in the UK. She had a patent on her water bottle product, on the water bottles. She wanted to sell the company. I believe she was going back to school, and she wanted 50 grand for the company. So what I did is I partnered with her. I said, I'm not going to give you 50 grand up front, but as I sell product, I'll pay you a royalty up to 50 grand. And so basically that was how I did it. So I'm not necessarily a middleman, because I was actually buying her company from her. And I wouldn't really suggest you be a middleman either, because if you're a middleman, you're not really building an asset.
Right.
The other amazing thing about her company, I bought her company, set it all up, ran it for a long time, did 100-something grand the first month, and grew it from there. Not once have I ever talked to her on the phone, ever. We do it all through text message and chat. She loves it. I love it. We move super fast. I just thought that was something that was really unique, is that I love her. Like, because there's no like setting up a call and just BSing about whatever. We just get it done. And yeah.
So I'm going to say one of the things too about the middleman thing, which is amazing. Because yes, of course, if you just want to post and be a middleman, that's definitely a thing, but that's definitely not what we're teaching. What I would say the value in what you teach is getting equity in people's company. You know what I mean? People always talk about pay me in equity and things like that, and getting equity in some of when the company sells and being able to receive payment for when a company sells that you didn't even start, maybe that you invested in, and then the company sells and then you get paid. That's what we're teaching. So there's just so much about equity in a person, getting equity in different businesses and bringing value to that business for the equity that you're receiving. Yeah. So hopefully you got that, Miss Susan Whitney. You are not going to be a middleman. You're going to be getting equity in companies, and you're going to be bringing value to different entrepreneurs and helping them market and sell their services. Okay. So Joan Ruffins wrote, my product is a children's book series. Is that something that would work?
Yeah.
Yes.
Very good. Yeah, it would.
Yes. Absolutely.
Is timely. Yes, absolutely. That'd be a really good one.
It really would. It's so funny she said that. I was like, wow, because I wrote a children's book. Some of you know a couple of them, and then I just started writing real estate books. But it was more for children to support the nonprofit for children's literacy. So there's just so much that you could do with children's books. I am a fan. Hopefully she does join the mastermind, because I would love to help with children's books. I think that's so important. That children still read. So that was the last of the questions. We're getting a lot of, just thank you, people joining. The numbers are going like crazy. And my phone is dinging like crazy. So, oh my gosh, so many people have already bought. We're probably already full. My phone is just bing, 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 bing. Like this is going crazy. So we've answered like most of the questions. This was great information. People are saying thank you. Hopefully, more people will see you guys at the mastermind. I just thank you so much, Brock, for your time today. This has been incredible. If anybody has any questions, of course, they can always reach out to my office. I'll give that number as well. It's 888-479-4542. If you have any questions about the mastermind, if you want to join, if you have questions before you join, please feel free. I have a team of people. They will answer. Me and Brock are going to be there. We're looking for real entrepreneurs that really want to do businesses and get paid in equity and things like that. So here we go. I can't wait to see you guys next time.